welcome back to Retting Road. In this video, as you can tell, I'm carrying on with the footpath scene. I'm not going to say much more than that really, so I'm going to get cracking on with it, and I hope you enjoy. So as you can probably tell, I have worked on the area since the last video, so I'm just going to quickly go through what I've done since then. So on the left hand side of the path, where the fence posts are, I added a bunch of bushes and lichen, and then just added a layer of static grass on top of that, just to give it more of an overgrown effect. So I'm happy with the level of overgrowth on there now. I didn't really want to go over the top too much. And then as you can see behind it, there's a couple of trees in there. These trees were already made up, and you've probably seen them in videos in the past, but I wasn't really happy with how they looked, so I just went over them and just improved them a little bit. They definitely look a lot better than what they did before. I also, coming on to the details, I also added the litter bin where I said I was going to, next to the seated figure and the bench. And then I also added some litter around it, and then just a little bit more down this end of the path. So there's another Tesco bag there. And then there's also some other bits around the bin itself. The dog I took up, I've moved that about a little bit, but that's not glued in at the minute. That's just there temporarily, because I also added a layer of gravel on top of what was there before, because there was a load of static grass fibres on top of it, and I just think it spoiled the look. So I just carefully applied another layer of gravel and then glued that into position. Looks like a figures fell up over there as well, so I'm going to have to saw that out before I carry on. So that's pretty much what I've done since the last video. So not a great deal, but it did feel quite a bit, to be honest. But this video I'm going to be focusing on the right hand side mainly. Sorry about that, just zoom out a bit. So I'm going to be focusing on the right hand side a bit more, and then I'm going to come round to the sides just go to roughly where that catenary mast is, because I want to add some more in before I build up the area even further. So I'm going to be focusing quite a bit on scenery in this video rather than the details, because that was more the focus on the last video. But anyway, that's enough talking for now, so I'm going to get on with some modelling. So I added another row of bushes to the right hand side of the path, and I just used some Woodland Scenics clump foliage for that. I do like how that looks, and then I'll be adding some static grass on top of it like I did on the left hand side. And then further up the path I added some pigment on top of the gravel path, just to make it look more like a dirt sort of residue or an appearance. I just wanted to try it out first. I did add it below the path, but I think I did add a bit more of it, so I may add some more to there once the PVA mix has gone off, because that's why I added afterwards, just to seal it in. So while I wait for glue to dry on this part, because I don't really want to add to that until it's all nice and sturdy, I'm going to add a line side fence next to the main line up until it gets to the catenary mast. So I've just finished putting the fencing in, the posts and running the wires through. I've done 3 in total at the front there, and then I've also done a couple further down. I only done 2 for a reason I'll explain in a moment. So I think it does look pretty good. I really didn't enjoy doing it though. It did take me quite a while. I think I must have taken a good few 3 to 4 hours maybe. It was a real horrible tedious job to do. But anyway, I've got it done in the end. So I'm going to now just pan round and try and keep the camera as steady as I can without too much joltiness. So you can see where it's now gone down to 2 wires hopefully. If I just need to bend it down a tiny bit more. There we go. So you can see how while I was fitting it, a couple of fence posts did break up. It wasn't just them 2, it was quite a few to be honest. But I thought I'd use some of it to my advantage and have a couple of fence posts there glued down just to make them look as if they've toppled over or they've been vandalised and damaged, so they need to be repaired. And I'll be adding a trackside figure there at some point to accommodate that. And then just coming further around. I thought as I had enough fence posts, I thought I'd just carry on right to the end of the baseboard or the edge of the baseboard just to finish the fence off completely. I think it creates a nice boundary as well, and there'll be a nice separate area where that piece of rail is there. So now it just creates a nice little boundary to work in. So I am happy with how that's looking. And also the glue for the bushes have gone off now as well, and also the rest of the items that were glued in. The pigment's more or less dried at the top, and I am happy with how that looks. So I'm just going to try and zoom in a bit more now so you can see. You get an idea, but that area is now looking great. I think I may still add to it, I might not, it depends later on, but for the most part I think I probably won't. I am happy with how that's looking. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding another layer of scenery in on this area and just changing it, making it look more wild, like on the left hand side of the path, just to blend it in and match it. So I'm going to just do a whole another layer of static grass on top, and then that's when I'm going to start adding some bushes and some lichen again before a final layer. Unfortunately, my phone was about to run out of battery, so I did have to stop filming, but I thought I'd just carry on with the scene anyway and show you at the end of what I'd done. So I'm all finished now, more or less, or the ground cover anyway. So what you saw is I'd done a first layer of static grass, and then after that I added down the lichen and the bushes, and also along the fencing as well. So I've done both sides of the fencing. Then I added a couple of layers after that as well. This is when my phone ran out of battery, or was just about to. So I've done a couple of layers on static grass to that. The first layer of grass was mainly 6mm and 2mm fibres. Then the second layer was 4mm, and then the third and final layer was more 2mm. The third layer is more prevalent in this little area alongside the fencing, where the grass is quite a lot brighter. Reason being, I just wanted a bit of variation, and also the grass would be a different colour that be where all the trees are going. So I have left the areas where there'll be trees, all sort of a different colour grass underneath, and then the trees I've also marked out with some bare patches. And how I done that was how I used the pigment I used to weather the gravel path up a little bit. I just sprinkled some on, then pushed it and smudged it into the grass with my fingers, and then just sprayed it with water to moisten it up, and then applied the PVA mix, sort of a similar how you do your ballasting. But I'm happy with how it turned out. I may readdress this part because that was the first one I'd done and I did mess up on it, unfortunately, but I might leave it as it is just because it does look quite boggy there, but I'll see how I get on. But yeah, I am overall happy with how this turned out. So I've just finished adding some colour to the scene as well by adding some flowers in the bushes. How I done that was with some paintbrush thistles that I cut off a dry unused brush. Dip them thistles in PVA, then dip those into a bag of scatter of various different colours. I chose blue and yellow because I thought they create quite a nice contrasting effect. And they do grow up in them like weeds and bushes of this sort of type as well, judging by some research. Just going to pan around carefully. So I've done it all over this half really, and a bit up there too. I didn't want to do too much because there'll be trees going over these as well, and then I'll do the same for the area over there. But now I'm going to start looking at getting some trees into place. So I've just finished putting in some trees in and the glue's going off for them. And then what I've also done is I just added the flowering over here to complete this scene. And then as well up here near the crossing I've put in 2 smaller trees from the Woodland Scenics Fine Leaf Foliage pack. So I'm really happy how these has turned out. Done 5 of these trees in total, these bigger ones, and I just took most of them from up on the embankment. I just took those out because I wasn't happy with them up there anyway, and I just went over them with some static grass with the layering spray. I just gave them the same treatment as I did with those other trees over there on the left hand side, and I think they've turned out all right. I am really happy with how the scene has turned out overall. And just coming closer, you can see how I've also glued in a trackside worker who's inspecting the fence and just checking out to see what's happened. So now he's in there as well, like I said I'd put him in. So I'm going to leave the glue to dry overnight, and then that will pretty much be the scene completed. So it's the following day and all the glue is now dry. The trees are now nice and firmly in position, and there are no wobbles there or nothing, which is good. So I'm really happy with the scene, and I thought as well I'll just leave this area a bit open, because then it makes a nice sort of vantage point to come down and just admire the scene all over. And also you can still see down the path. So it's nice to just have a bit of a gap in the trees, if you like. And then eventually I will be putting a backboard along the side just to avoid hitting anything, and same along the front here. So I'll be attaching some backboards just along here just to protect the trees a little bit as well. So apart from those, I'm now finished over in this area. So that brings an end to the video. Once again, I enjoyed making it, and I really enjoyed working on this scene. I can't wait to build another one up like it, and I've got some ideas on what I want to do in the future. But as normal, I'm going to end the video here, and I thank you all ever so much for watching it. And I hope I've inspired some of you to maybe do something yourself like this, or do a bit of scenery on your layout, etc, etc. But again, I definitely enjoyed making it. So I'm now going to end the video here, and in the meantime you can enjoy a little montage of progress pictures, and at the end I've got running shots as well with some trains running next to the scene, so I hope you enjoy that as well. Thanks ever so much guys for watching my video again, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys, and happy modelling.